All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, happy to be talking to an individual with a fight going at Bellator 232. It's happening October 26th. It's listed as a catchweight bout. We've got Manny Moreau taking on Nick Newell, and I've got Nick on the show today. How's your day going so far there, man?
I'm good, man. I'm great. I'm having a good day. I'm ready to start training in a little bit.
Right on. Who are the regular sparring partners you're getting in that work with? Because I was checking out your Instagram, and it seems like you just have like a litany of great guys that come through and really you just get in those rounds with. So who are like the regular sort of people you've been sparring with ahead of this particular fight?
Yeah, I have a lot of really good guys, and not necessarily the biggest names in the sport, but really talented, good training partners that I work with, and that push me and know me and stuff like that. I have a lot of guys that are young and hungry, which actually keeps me motivated more so than other veterans of the game. Because these young guys, they want something. They're a little different. I have a bunch of new pros to work with, and it's really been a great training camp.
Yeah, and I've seen you work at like different gyms and do some cross training and stuff like that. Like I saw you at Glover Teixeira's gym a little while ago too. Has there been any cross training like that for this camp, or kind of just keeping it to like the one facility sort of thing?
Obviously, I always keep it open to cross train. I spent a day in I had to go to New York City for a couple days, and I stopped by and worked with the striking coach at Henzo's for a day, and then one of the best grapplers in the world I rolled with, Mansour Kahara, and that was good. Other than that, I've done most of this camp at my gym. I've had guys from D1 wrestlers from Sacred Heart University come in and work with me, and no Glovers this time because of scheduling reasons. But definitely in the future, I'm gonna work with him more and go there. But mainly, most of my camp has been at Fighting Arts Academy in Springfield, Mass, and then Fighting Arts Academy CT, which is my gym in Milford, Connecticut.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it seems like the hometown really rides with you and everything like that. Like I've seen some articles come out like ahead of your fights, and there seems to be like a real kinship and fanfare and stuff like that. Like the Hartford Courant, I believe, had put out a piece on you that I thought was pretty cool. And like yeah, just talking about how you were like so close to like the venue and stuff like that for your last fight, and also we've got like another Connecticut card here, so I imagine similar situation, maybe not quite 10 minutes from the arena sort of thing, but are you excited to be competing in front of like the home state fans and having that kind of partisan support when you get out there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's always good when I can drive to the venue. It's cool to travel, and I like visiting places. There's pluses and minuses to everything, but fighting at home is good because I can drive to the venue. I know everything around, and it just makes life easier for me.
Yeah, for sure. And then it seemed like Mike Kimball was like, kind of part of some of the preparatory aspects of some past fights and stuff like that. He had kind of a similar thing as well, and he was getting fired up. But it seems like you're fired up in the sense of you're locked into this new deal with Bellator. You got the 4 fight deal from what I was seeing from some articles and stuff like that. Initially, obviously, you had the 1 fight go with Bellator. How does it feel now heading into another Bellator fight, but this time with kind of like the long term contract locked in? Is there a different set of pressures or mental considerations, or is it kind of similar to where you were at last fight?
Yeah, nothing is, nothing's set. Things can always change, so I always feel like I'm kind of fighting for my job, because the better you do, the better fighters you get, the more money you make, and the better you add to your legacy. So nothing's really changed. I want to win, and there's always different circumstances in a fight. Like people always ask me, like, "Hey, is it different now that you're a dad?" Like, no, It's honestly not. Like, it's all the same. You know, I've always wanted to win. It's different now that you're with Bellator. Like, no, it's not different. I want to win. I've always wanted to win, and I could be fighting for the smallest show in the world, and it wouldn't make a difference in the biggest fight in the world. You know, it's all in preparation. I don't like people having things over me, and I don't want to give that to someone. I'm going out there to win, and I'm going to give it my all, no matter what the stakes are.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wasn't meaning it in like a motivation kind of sense. It just seemed like the whole saga with Bellator, like you felt very, appreciated and wanted by them, and it seemed very emotional, like the post fight scrum you had and stuff like that. So I guess I was wondering if there was like a sense of like maybe like kinship or something like that being like attached to the Bellator brand in that kind of way. But I mean, I guess you have to, keep your eyes on the prize, and it's all about achieving these like new goals and stuff like that. You can't rest on any perceived laurels, right?
Yeah, I never rest on my laurels. There's always more you can do. You can always be better, and it doesn't really matter who you are. You know, I mean, you look at the best of the best, the George St. Pierre, the John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, and there's always more stuff they can do. You know, and those guys have done it all. So, look at Patricio Pitbull. He's the champ in 2 weight classes, and he's still got to win this tournament. There's always more you can do. Bader is a 2 division champ. He's still got more he can do. You haven't beaten this guy. You haven't done this yet. You know, so for me, I'm just really trying to go out there and just make statements every single fight.
Yeah, for sure. And with your opponent here, Manny Muro, I'm curious if like you're a guy who tends to watch tape on his opponents, or if it's more so you focus on your own efforts and kind of let like your trainers and stuff like that watch tape on your opponent. If you have watched tape on your opponent here, though, what are your thoughts on the skill set they bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, he's good. I've definitely watched him fight. He stays pretty calm out there. He seems like good composure. Um, well-rounded fighters. Won by TKO. He's won by submission. You know, but I mean, I fought a lot of guys. You know, I've been doing this a long time. There's nothing out there that's gonna surprise me or catch me off guard. I've been pro for over 10 years, and I've been training for 20. So for me, it's another day in the office, and it's another. You know, there's just another person standing in my way of everything I work for and everything I sacrificed. So I gotta take him out. And I've watched a little bit of footage on him, and he's definitely good. He's very good, but I'm great.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like you said, you've been competing for a decent while. It's been a long road since the Daniel Ford victory you had there, eh?
Yeah, you know, it's certainly been a road, and even before that, I was fighting in bars. They put a ring in a bar, and I was fighting amateur in there, and now I'm fighting for an organization that's well on its way to being the biggest organization in the world.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective in a lot of ways. And to that point about perspective, I'm kind of curious because I'd seen an interview where you were talking about how like you were a young kid and thought Jim Abbott was the only individual who had like one hand in the world, and also you had a cool story on Ariel Helwani show about how like Bret Hart gave you the glasses. It seems like the like commonality between these two things is just like you look up to someone and then they kind of like have a moment with you. Is it weird to you to look at it from the lens of you now kind of being that guy that can inspire young people and be that hero to them? Is that like a humbling thing? Is it kind of weird? Like, what are your thoughts on all of that there?
No, I definitely think it's unique. It's not something I ever expected. I just started doing this because it was fun and I enjoyed it, and I'm a competitor and I like competing. But to have all these people reach out to me is kind of cool and rewarding, because I never asked to be an inspiration. I never tried to be an inspiration or be anything other than that's what I do. And I've always worked hard and kept my head down and grinded and never done anyone wrong. So um, to have people to kind of reach out to me like that means a lot.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I also noticed you were ringside for a Jake Lee Peacock fight from what I was seeing there. Like his fight there he had for Lion fights there. Is that someone you've trained with at all in the past? Because as a person who covers the Canadian fight scene, I'm very familiar with Jake and everybody I know speaks very highly of him. So was it just like you were there from like a fandom perspective? Have trained with Jake before or anything like that?
Uh, I've I've never actually trained with Jake, um, but I did corner him once when he fought in New York City.
Oh, cool.
So he called me up like, "Hey, I need an extra corner. Do you want to come down to my fight?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" I was gonna go watch it anyway. So he fought before Lion Fight. He was in New York, and he had a fight, his pro debut, and I wanted to be there because I had a feeling like something special was gonna happen, and it did, and it led to what we have now, which is the kid's well on his way to becoming a phenom.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, his skill set is amazing. I mean, if you're into high level Muay Thai, he's definitely a fun guy to watch. But I was noticing in doing some of the research on you that like WWE was kind of a big thing for you in the early stages of getting into MMA, and I also mentioned the Bret Hart interaction. But you had a funny post where you said that Bellator had you feeling like the Undertaker walking out to fight, like you had the smoke going through and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, I might have to come out to his theme next. Are you gonna come out to the Undertaker's theme for this fight here?
I got a surprise for everyone, so you got to watch the, you know.
Maybe a cameo from Wrecking Ball Legursky for your entrance, something like that.
Yeah, he's been training at my gym. He's a good dude and actually a great athlete. He's wrestling an old friend of mine, Chuck O'Neill, this weekend at my college, Western New England. Unfortunately, I've been busy with everything with the fight, and I don't travel anywhere. Um, a month, I don't like to go anywhere that or do anything like Sunday is for my family, especially when I have fight camp. So I won't be there, but I'm going to be going to all his wrestling matches after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to the point of like recuperation and recovering after hard training, it seems like, like the hypnotist stuff has been cool for like, the mental game and stuff like that. I'm curious, do you have any like physical recuperation methods that you go to? Anything like that?
Yeah, well, as you said, I use Dom the hypnotist for some things, but I have a, a therapist I go see, Jose. His name's Jose Collado, and he works out of Norwalk with a company called ATP, and he does a great job in helping me and fixing all my injuries. And I see him at least once a week, sometimes twice if things are bad. And I also do float therapy as well. I actually did that today, and to kind of get my body right and stuff like that. And then I'll go see a chiropractor and do all that stuff as needed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to cover it on the mental and physical end, so it seems pretty comprehensive with that. But usually when I have fighters on the show, I ask them, the music they kind of like training to. Like I saw you had the interview with Jamie Josta of Hatebreed. Like, are you training to like a lot of hardcore kind of stuff? Like, what are the genres you tend to gravitate to when you're in the training room?
No, I'll listen to some Josta in my car on the way to the gym. But it's like in the gym, we just play whatever. I have a playlist, and it's like 500 songs, and it's all different varieties. So we have a little bit of that, and then a little bit I like other stuff and some pop and some hip hop and whatever. So there's nothing. It's a little bit of a mix because it's not all about me. At the gym, so I have like a list, and people can put in songs, and we made like a big gym playlist.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's a thoughtful kind of sentiment, a nice communal, everybody pick their own tunes kind of thing. But you've been great with your time, man. I'm sure you got a lot of other stuff you got to do today. Is there anything you want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, though, man?
No, nothing I can think of right now.
That's all good, man. I appreciate all the insights and the time, and people should be checking out this fight on October 26th, Bellator 232, an incredible fight between Manny Muro and Nick Newell, one that I'm very much looking forward to, and just appreciate all the time, like I said, and, best of luck with the rest of your preparations, Nick, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.